All right, is everybody ready? I'll call this meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag's behind us. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first item of business is to elect a chairperson for this meeting.
I move to elect the sitting president of the council for the chairperson.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded that I chair the meeting tonight, so thank you for that, Mark. The next item of business then is the approval of the 2020 annual meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to go through the minutes from last year? I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
And do I hear a second?
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the 2020 annual meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is we're going to joggle things up a little bit, if it's okay with everybody. Mr. Ernst would like us to introduce our new staff earlier in the meeting. So,
all right, thank you, Mr. Frenchu. So we have some new staff. This has been the summer of hiring. So I just want to introduce the new staff members this year that are present. First off, we have Mr. Brian Melberg, who's going to be the 712 principal at the junior senior high. We have Mr. Chad Eggert, who I don't believe is here. He's going to be at he's going to be teaching PE at the junior senior high. We have Jessica Knutson, who I don't believe is here either. She's going to be teaching junior high mathematics at the junior senior high here. We have Lisa Barland. Lisa, are you here? Hey, thank you. Lisa's going to be teaching special ed in this building. We have Seth Amundson. We have Seth is going to be PE and health in this building and at the elementary. Melanie Ellison. Oh, thanks, Melanie. Melanie's going to be special education teacher over at the elementary building. We have Karen Howell. Thought I saw Karen. Thanks, Karen. Karen's going to be the Title I reading specialist teacher over at the elementary for us. We have Amy Stender. Going to be music ed at the junior senior high here. And Brian Erdrich. Brian is here. Is going to be teaching English at the junior senior high here in this building. Then we have a couple support staff as well, new to the district. We have Carrie Blanchard is going to be in the administrative assistant position, the new position that we created that's going to be tied to the athletics department and open enrollment. Kaylia Hoyt, is Kaylia here? No. Kaylia is going to be speech and language aide over at the elementary building. We have Joe O'Connor. Who's going to be a bus driver, accepted the position to drive bus for us. And then Jennifer Mickelson, a special education aide over at the junior senior high. So we just finalized the last hire actually today. So it's been a handful of new hires. So I appreciate all you guys new staff, not only for taking the positions and joining the Warrior team here, but coming this evening too to be recognized. So thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. The next item of business is the budget and tax levy.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah. Good night to you.
Do staff and goals, that means?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so budget starting on page 8 for the board. All of our board members, nothing has changed since our last meeting in the presentation that I gave during our last meeting. So I'll go over the budget. If you have any questions, ask. But we have total Fund 10. Do you guys want me to go through every single thing again, or
That's up to you guys. We've seen it already, so if you guys want to see it.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. I'll go through all the numbers that are in there, but a lot of these, for those of you guys that just joining, these are a lot of just best guesses, even more so best guesses this year than any other year with the changes, but it's based off of a lot of different variables that change between now and October. Most of the numbers are based on a 3-year average, which also include enrollment, open enrollment, and then the property value. We're highly state aided, so that impacts that in October. Then in the November meeting is when the final budget, we make adjustments based on those numbers that come in, and when the board finalizes the actual final budget. So these are the best guesses that we have with the information that we have right now. So I'll go through total fund revenues, just at the bottom of page 8. Our Fund 10 total budget is just over $7.5 million. We do try to do what's called a balanced budget, where our revenue reflects or is the same number as expenditures. This year's a little different. Our expenditures are a little higher. Then on page 9, you look at Fund 10, about 3/4 of the way down. The total Fund 10 expenditures are just a little bit over $8 million. So this includes most of our budget is within that Fund 10 budget. Then we have Fund 21, which is our activities fund. That's mainly money in, money out. We budgeted $60,000 for that, so that's all of our sports clubs, those type of things. Fund 27 is our special projects fund or special education fund. You'll see the very first item, transfer from Fund 10. So we have to transfer money from our Fund 10 budget into Fund 27 to cover that cost, which is $615,000. We get $5,000 of state aid. Or transit of state aid, and then $165,000, little over that of state aid. So total revenues for Fund 27 is a little over $990,000, and then total expenditures for Fund 27 is also a little over $990,000. Fund 38 and 39 typically kind of lumped together. But Fund 39 is connected to the referendum. Fund 39 is non-referendum, so energy exemption. But when our referendum in 2010, when we went to referendum, those two were tied together, and districts no longer can do that. But Fund 38, the total revenues $541,245. Total expenditures is $549,476. Fund 39, the total revenues is $993,000, a little over $993,000, and the total expenditures is just a hair over $1 million. The Fund 39, we are going to overspend a little bit with Fund 39 this year, just because that money we can and we have, and that will help adjust our mill rate to give us a little bit of safeguard with our mill rate. And then that will also save taxpayer dollars in the long run, because that will it's almost like paying extra with a home loan or something like that, where you can that interest rate you won't have to pay as much. So it'll kind of help us out in two ways: adjust the mill rate, and then also help us in the long run save taxpayer dollars. Fund 46 is, I think I've referred to it in the past, kind of our safety blanket. So with the Wisconsin budget system, if you overspend or if you underspend, you get impacted negatively the following year with your state aid. So that Fund 46 allows us, if we do underspend, then we can put it into our Fund 46 account. It's specifically, that money can only be used for operational purposes. So the intent behind initially starting the Fund 46 was to put money, kind of show tax stakeholders that we're doing our due diligence to try to put money towards the roof in this building. We've done a really nice job, I think, budgeting as a district, mixed with a little bit of, I guess, luck, for lack of better terms, just because of with some of the COVID stuff and the shutdown during that time, the savings on electricity and heat and AC and some of those things, we were able to save some additional money. So right now we're at a little over $1.5 million in that, which is going to be pretty close to the amount that it's going to cost for the roof. So it really will do, prove to all of our stakeholders that we've done a nice job saving for that. So the roof will be a little bit more than that, but we're getting close to the actual amount. Fund 50 is a food service that has typically generated more revenue than expenses. The last 2 years, it's a lot of changes, obviously, with the pandemic and federal dollars that are coming, and some of the decisions that have been made from at the federal level to provide all families, regardless of circumstances, free and reduced, non-free and reduced. All families receive free breakfasts and free lunches. So that's been a little bit of an impact on the Fund 50 budget, but right now we have revenue at little over $587,000, and then expenditures at about $505,000 for Fund 50. Fund 60 scholarship fund, really we have hands off of that. There's a scholarship fund, but the money in there reflects what the revenues of $24,000, and then the expenditures also reflect the $24,000. Fund 80 is a community service fund. We over levy $30,000 for that. So total revenues is $80,000, and then total Fund 80 expenditures are also $80,000. So if you turn to page 12, this is kind of the breakdown, just to give everyone an idea of the budget as a whole. So Fund 10 revenues, just total where we get our money specific to Clear Lake. Every school is different, but depending on their enrollment, their declining enrollment or increased enrollment, depending on their property value. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of variables that impact it. But we're a heavily state-aided school district. About 81% of our Fund 10 revenues comes from the state. So we're a little bit over $6 million. Locally, we're at about 12%. So little over $878,000. Federal dollars is 2% at $174,000. I do want to say that I didn't put the ESSER fund money in. For those of you that either have listened to meetings or come to meetings, there's money called ESSER fund. It's the COVID relief money. Some call it. Some at the very first round was called the CARES Act, and now it's ESSER money. So there's 3 rounds of ESSER money. First round was CARES, then there's ESSER 2 and ESSER 3. So that that's all 100% federal dollars, and that is not included in this budget because it would just throw everything out of whack. So I wanted to give everyone a good representation of what our actual budget is. And then other funds about 5% at $394,000. So total Fund 10, like I said, is a little over $7.5 million. If you look at the total fund, so listed at the bottom of page 12, these are the funds that we have in our district: Fund 10, Fund 21, 27, 38, 39, 50, and 80. 70% of our total overall budget, which is little over $10.7 million. 7.5 of that, little over 7.5, is Fund 10. 0.5% at $60,000 is our Fund 21. 9% of our special ed fund, or Fund 27, just shy of $1 million. 5% of our Fund 38, which is non-referendum dollars, is $541,245, and then 9% of Fund 39, which is a little higher. Like I said, we're going to overpay with the Fund 39 with the referendum dollars, and that's just a little bit shy of $1 million. Fund 50 is 5.5% at $587,900, and then Fund 80 is 1% at $80,000. Total expenditures is pretty close to the same, so I won't go through all that. But our total fund expenditures, so everything, is a little bit over $11 million for our total budget in the Clear Lake District, and you can see the percentages are pretty closely reflected to the revenues. Which brings us to property tax levies at the bottom of 13. Well, actually, I should probably stop at that. I'll stop with the. Oh no, we do tax levy. I'm sorry. So the tax levy at the bottom of page 13. So we are levying Fund 10, little over $851,000. Fund 38 is $541,000. Fund 39 is a little bit shy of $1 million. And then Fund 80, we're levying $30,000. So total school levy right now is little over $2.4 million. And then the next page on 14 gives you what that means for the mill rate. So the projected mill rate, this is based off of a 1% property value increase. So this is page 14. We're looking at with the levies that I just described, or that are on the bottom of page 13, that little over 2.4 million. Our mill rate is going to be $9.43, per that $100,000 mark. And like I said, this will be the property value. Once that comes in, that'll be impacted, and and that's based off of a 3-year average as well. So if you look at the last, a couple of years, we try to keep it. We've been trying to keep it in that $9 to $10 range, which I think we've been doing a really nice job keeping that mill rate at that. The outside variable of property value and the increased property value for individuals has an impact on that. But the variable that the school district has control over is based off of the tax levy, the $2.4 million, which is $9.43 per 100,000. I feel like I was talking really fast. Any questions?
I've got a couple of comments. Josh, was it this year that we refinanced our
38 and 39 were refinanced.
39, so we saved a bunch of money there.
We did, yeah.
Interest rates went down. And then just want to shed a little bit more light on the fact. Fund 46, that's our roof money. That we never really dreamt that it would have grown to that level, but we started 4 years ago putting money?
4 years ago, yeah. This is the first year that we would, or is it 5? 5 years. This is the first year, that we can have access to that. So when we first implemented, there's a 5-year window that you're not allowed to access it.
So I just want to thank publicly Josh for doing a pretty good job at making sure these budgets, the tradition of our budget, holds as it has. So good job, Josh.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I wish I could take all the credit, but there was a little bit of luck in there too. But I think if you saw prior to COVID as a district, and you as the board, you guys had just as much of an impact as I did as far as allocating money there. We were definitely making some good ground with it too. But thank you, appreciate it.
What that means is that we wouldn't need to go to a referendum to get money to put money on a roof. So that really does save the homeowners and people of the township and the different townships from having to put more money in to put a roof on. So it really is significant for all the stakeholders in our community.
Yeah. And off that note, when we originally talked about, our plan is to go referendum this February, specifically for compensation for teacher salaries. We have it's a pretty large discrepancy in our teacher salaries, and from when you look at surrounding areas. And one of the pieces was teacher compensation, but then also roof in this building. And this was part of that conversation, but I'm happy that we won't, the conversation of referendum won't include the roof as well, which is really nice.
So a few of you guys were on the board here not too long ago, and you guys remember the salaries portion of what we did. And when Governor Walker came in, I don't remember if you guys were on the board at that time or not, but they kind of stifled the dollars that go for our salaries, and that has continued up until today. So we're going to try and rectify that a bit.
Yep.
There's teachers that have been working here for 10 years that are still in their starting wage, and that doesn't work very well. So
we've lost some good teachers because of it, and we really want to show that we value the teachers that have stuck it out and been here. And we've made some. We had a committee in place. We've made some small changes, but in order to make the changes that we really need to do, a referendum is in the cards for us. So, and I'm confident that we'll be able to do it with a very little impact on the mill rate, which is another. The sales pitch was we're going to do our due diligence to ask for a referendum, but do our due diligence to have some money saved for the roof, and then also do it in a way that can not negatively impact our mill rate a whole lot. So our goal is to keep the mill rate, even with the 3 to 4 year adjustments with salaries, to keep the mill rate under that $10 mark. And also, there's variables that are in place that impact the mill rate. But with what we have, I'm confident that we're going to be able to do it. So, any other questions with the budget?
Then if there are none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Fund 10 and tax levy.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the 2021-22 budget and tax levy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is the approval of the 21-22 school board salaries.
I would like to move that we maintain what's been going on here for school board salaries with their ongoing education involved with how the salaries paid. I'd move to maintain what we've got.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the school board salaries as they have been in the recent past. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And now the next item of business is the consent agenda, and generally we've grouped these all together. So I'll read them off if you guys are okay with that.
I move to approve the consent agenda A through G.
Okay, is there a
And
second?
the H too, if you want.
Do I hear a second?
Yes.
Can we get a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And now it's time for State of the District. We'll start with Dr. Ernst and our superintendent's report.
Okay. All right. Get my notes out here. Okay, so we went through the new staff. Like I said, it's just been definitely a summer of hiring. We've had a lot of hiring. We've had over the last, if you count last year and this year, we've had a 25% turnover. And I think there's a lot of variables that are play, but I think one of the main variables is just the state of education and honestly just the state of society and where our country's at and the stress that this all brings. So we had a lot of hiring to do this summer, but it was with the admin team we did a lot of hiring and but I just want to go through, kind of reflect on the last year, the 2020 year, but it's hard to reflect on that year without including the 1920 year. It just it seems like it's been just blended together with what we've been doing in the district. I don't think it's any secret that the educational climate right now is just toxic. I think, and I'm not speaking to Clear Lake, I think across the country, you turn on any news channel, and you'll see a parent voicing frustration, voicing concern. You'll hear about a teacher doing this, a parent doing that, an administrator doing that, a board member doing that, and I don't think you can turn on a channel without seeing that. But I've never, and I do want to say that this year, more non-renewals at the administration level, more board recalls than any other year in the state of Wisconsin. And I think that just is a true reflection of what school districts are dealing with across the country. And there's districts that are toxic, there are districts in turmoil, and that is not what Clear Lake is. I think we had a very hard year last year. The year before was just as difficult, and I think we have been, I have never been more honored to lead the Clear Lake School District, and maybe even more importantly, never been more thankful to have my own 4 children part of a district like Clear Lake, and specifically, what our staff did. But I really think, when you reflect on why we were so successful, it was because of me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just totally kidding. I want to wake everyone up. You can't say it's because of one person or one group wasn't because of the teachers. It certainly wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of the admin team. It wasn't because of the board. It wasn't the parents. It was because of everyone. It was everyone's collective effort. It really was. It was because of our solid teaching staff, our solid support staff, our administrative team, our board level, our board. Our transportation department, our food department, our parents, our students. It really was a collective effort to have a successful year last year and even in the year before. And I feel thankful and honored to be part of the district and because of everyone's efforts. We didn't have what everyone else, we were dealing with the same things that everyone else was dealing with, but we didn't have the same issues that all of the other that many districts across the country dealt with, and I really think it's because of everyone's efforts, and I truly am thankful. And I know me being in as the superintendent, it's just that is something that I should say, but I wouldn't be able to say it if I didn't believe it, and I really do believe it. And I think the one variable, and I know there's a couple variables, but there's just this certain level of trust, I think, that's all throughout the district, and I don't mean just internally, from administration to teachers to support staff, the board level to the admin. I think it's everywhere. I think there's a level of trust with the parents. There's a level of trust with the students, with the staff, and throughout the entire district. And I really am. I feel like, as a whole, when you look at all stakeholders, there's not only a level of trust, but just I feel like everyone just presume positive intent. We're all trying to make the best decisions that we can. Where some of the decisions are wrong, absolutely, when you reflect back, hindsight. But I think for the most part, we really did, try to make decisions that were student-centered in the best interest of kids. And I think that the parents did a really nice job trusting the staff, and the board trusting admin, and the admin trusting teachers and support staff. So I just want to say thank you to all of the stakeholder groups. I don't think I left anybody out, but I can't think of one position in the district where you, and this include myself all the way through the district, where you did a job and you're like, this definitely was not in my job description, when I entered. You think about who was delivering food and who was doing all kinds of things, and I think everyone's heart was in the right place. So did you have something?
I just wanted to throw out, we did have we did have to deal with some ugliness with some of the situations that we dealt with this year, and I just want to take my hat off to the administration team, Chris and Nick, if he's listening, and you, Josh, and the team that you had around you, with the patience that you had when the ugliness bore its face, and also the patience that you had with the board as we're kind of emotionally going through the different things that we went through this last year. So I just hats off to the job that you guys did.
I appreciate it, and feelings are mutual from our end. We've talked about that too, and I've talked about it in my own household. I can't imagine leading a district without a board, and a staff like we do. It would be extremely difficult to be, run a dysfunctional district. I think, even when we were dealing with the mask stuff, there were definitely, that meeting was public. There were definitely people that disagreed with some of the decisions that we were making, and even I think up here, there were decisions that we were making. It's like, man, this, I don't know if this is right or not. And even our plan for next year, it's like we're making a plan as best as we can, and time will tell whether it's a good plan or not. But I do think our, the trust is there from the stakeholders and from the parent group and the community, and so I appreciate it. I do think the upcoming year, this year is going to be even more challenging than last. I think last year, we all could agree at the very beginning, the year before, we didn't know up from down, and you're trying to make decisions. But now, I think it's going to be potentially more volatile, more toxic across the country. The opinions are pretty solid, where people know where they stand now on a lot of the topics. And I think it's our job as a district to make sure that we're transparent and communicate with parents what we're doing, and hopefully that will continue that trust through this year as well. I am confident that the district will be continued to be a great district and a student-centered district, and I think that's the key. that we're going to be not allow the politics to get in the mix, and that we're just going to keep making decisions that are in the best interest of the kids and the students that we have. So some notable accomplishments I just wanted to mention on page 19 and 20. I won't go through all of them, but I listed the academic instruction, the dollar amounts. In that section, I do want to mention that we had $63,650 in scholarships received to the class of 2021, and that's a big number in a community our size and the amount of kids that we have in our class. That's a lot of dollars that are impacting the graduates of 2020-21. So I'm very thankful and appreciative to all of those that took part in the scholarship night, and on behalf of the district, want to thank all of those individuals as well. Athletics, a couple notable things: the girls volleyball regional champs. First team, I'm not going to list all the individual names, but I'll just go through the team stuff. First team, we had a couple first team all conference, second team all conference. Those are all individuals. Girls basketball were regional champions. Football was the 9th consecutive year qualifying for postseason. Cross country, we had a conference champion, Adam Lenzer. Boys basketball, they were regional champions and conference champions. Wrestlers, we had a couple state qualifiers, Matt Anderson and Tyler Sunday. Baseball were conference runner-ups. The softball team had a successful year, first-year coach, and kind of a building year. Track and field, we had, for conference, a list of individuals that ran and placed at conference. State qualifiers, we had a couple state qualifiers. Hunter Pickard in the triple jump, Riley Peterson in the high jump took 6th. And then we had an 800-meter relay. Derek Cryer, Carter Carlson, John Pearson, and Adam Lenzer run down at state. And then I do want to mention Adam Lenzer, 3,200-meter state champion, which couldn't ask for a better kid to be a state champion, and couldn't ask for a better kid to represent the Clear Lake School District down at the state meet. Golf, we hosted regionals last year. Dance and cheer really did a nice job. They made the most of their season. A lot of the conference restrictions didn't allow the dance and cheer to participate during that time, but they did a lot of cardio and really did some team building stuff throughout the year. And they do an excellent job just supporting the other teams, the teams in the district. So it was unfortunate that they weren't able to do as much as they would have hoped last year, but they made the most of it. Pet band did an awesome job. Mr. Verheen, who's here tonight, led that crew, and by the end of the year, we were able to get the pet band into some of the games, and it was fun to have that. It was just a whole different atmosphere going from a completely silent gymnasium to a gymnasium with a band. So thank you, Mr. Verheen, and all of the individuals that were in the pep band. Breakdown of the class of 2021, we have 30% of them are attending a 4-year college, 23 are attending a 2-year technical college, 1% joined the military, and then 46% entered the workforce. Okay, so I just want to quickly mention or just kind of go through looking forward to the 2021-2022 school year. And where we're headed, what's going to look different, and what the plan is for this upcoming school year, which is just soon to be here. We have in-service starting this Friday. So I think the bottom line for us, we have district pandemic COVID plans or procedures that we have in place. But before we kind of get into that, I just want to say, with this year looking, I think across the country, like I said, potentially more toxic, potentially more volatile. What we're going to be stressing as a district is that everyone's in a different place. I think when you even talk to people in their own households have different opinions on a lot of this stuff. That's a lot of the hot topics. But we're all in a different place, but we all want the same goal. We want a great district, and I do think that's why we are a great district, is because we all recognize that we want what's best for kids. That we continue to presume positive intent. That goes from myself to everyone in the district, and asking parents to do the same thing. And I really believe that positivity breeds positivity. If you focus on the variables that you don't have control over, it can be one negative atmosphere. And we're going to do our best to focus on the variables that we have control over, and be positive. Because like I said, positivity really does breed positivity just as much as negativity breeds negativity. So some things that we have in place: masks will continue to be optional, just like they were in May. Our philosophy from the board level is we're going to focus on we're only going to make decisions based on our numbers and the information that we have, because those are the only numbers that we have control over. So we're looking at our numbers. So with that, based on last year's contact tracing, we had 720 some kids that we excluded due to being close contact. Of those 700 plus kids, 7 tested positive, and of those 7, like 3 or 4 were household members. So you could even argue that those 3 or 4, you could make the argument, I should say, that they didn't contract the virus from due to being close contact. So based on that, we're only going to exclude those individuals that have tested positive. So if you test positive, we're going to ask that you stay home for the extended period of time. If you're deemed a close contact, that we're not asking those individuals to be excluded. So the county will continue to exclude, but those are voluntary exclusions that the counties are doing. And if individuals, staff, or students want to come back into the building, we'll honor that, and they can come back into the building. Updates and I guess updates, initiatives, or focus areas. Really, I guess you could kind of just say our main goal in the district is going to be transparency. As I mentioned earlier, you turn on the news and it's a major issue with one of the hot topics, and yeah, I don't think it's a secret either what those hot topics are, whether it's COVID, critical race theory, promoting a certain sexual orientation, or just something related to politics in general. We're not going down those roads. We're going to make sure that we keep doing what we're doing. We have some safeguards in place where we have the board policy 2240, just controversial issues in the classroom, and then board policy 9130, which is public requests, suggestions, or complaints, just to give parents an avenue to, if they have questions with what's going on in the classroom, what's being viewed, what's being talked about, that's that avenue for them. We also implemented a library media policy, the same policy. So it's the kind of the 3 main points with the board policy 2240. Just question, is it related to the instructional goals of the course or study and level of maturity to the students? So making sure that it's age level appropriate. Does not tend to indoctrinate or persuade students to a particular point of view. And then encourages open-mindedness and is conducted in a spirit of school inquiry. So those are the 3 main points with kind of what's going on in the district, and I feel like that's another the safeguard that we as a district have put in place to ensure the parents that we're not going to get caught in the political stuff that's going on across the country. With that, we're also going to continue our standards work, which is a never-ending process, but it's truly been a painful process. There's been some variables that when we've gone down that road, the very first person that we brought in to help us with that, had to end up going on leave. Then we had COVID. Now we have another individual that's going to be helping us continue that process. So just identifying, for those of you that don't know, just identifying what is actually being taught in the classroom, what are the key points or what we call essential standards. Eventually those will be publicized, and then we also are going to have in place where teachers are going to be publicizing only movies that are not board approved, but approved through administration, and not have the autonomy to just play whatever they want in the classrooms, but to make sure that it's tied to curriculum, and that we can continue with the standards work too. And then lastly, which we already talked about, just the referendum, so that's coming. We're going to be sharing information with all of our stakeholders as far as what, just sharing it out to families of what that's going to look like, what we're actually asking, and what it is, so that you guys can make a decision based on that information, whether or not you would like to support the referendum. Okay, I promise I'm coming to an end here. New staff we talked about. But like I said, this is my 7th year in the district, which when I wrote it down, it made me pause for a second. But my 7th year in the district and the most hires that we've ever had in one summer, which I do think is a reflection of of what people were dealing with just the level of stress across the country. So in closing, I want to say thank you to everybody listening, everybody here. I'd like to thank our amazing staff for choosing the profession, but for also ensuring that we have a great district. And I want to thank the Board of Education here for just trusting them in, for trusting us to do our job. I'm very thankful to be working with this board, and I really say that I really feel like I'm working with them, not for them. I feel like it's a collaborative effort when we talk through decisions. There's a lot of good questions and good dialogue with the decisions that we're making. And last but certainly not least, I want to thank the parents and the students, because it could easily been an extremely challenging, even more challenging than it actually was, to have parents that didn't presume positive intent and didn't trust what we were doing in the district. So I'm very thankful for the stance that the parents have taken and to presume positive intent. So I'm excited for the 2021-22 school year to start. I feel like it's already started. It was fun having our first home football game. You go to the football game and it was packed. It almost felt like a tangible, like it felt like the environment was, everyone was just happy to have some normalcy, and I'm hoping that that will continue and that we'll keep doing what we're doing just like last year, and that we don't have the individuals getting sick or testing, not necessarily even testing positive, but getting the symptoms where we're forced to deal with something. Hopefully that's not the case, but it definitely felt good having the stands packed and watching our football team in the stadium the other night. So with that, that's all I have. So in closing, just want to say thank you. Appreciate it. Another year. Looking forward to another year in the Clear Lake District.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ernst. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Peterson, elementary school principal. Report.
Today we were joking because Mr. Melbourne, we were talking about what he had to have prepared for his speech tonight. I told him not to worry. By the time it gets to us, everyone's ready to be done. So normally, sometimes we introduce the new staff, and we've done that already tonight. But just make note of a few other staffing changes, just some of interest to people. But Mr. Rubel, who's been serving here at the high school Fayette for a long time, is going to be an elementary physical education teacher this year, and we've got some movement around. Also, Mrs. Niles is going to be moving from 3rd grade to 6th grade, teaching ELA, reading at the 6th grade level. And Stefan, who was a new 6th grade teacher last year, this year will be moving to kindergarten, will be teaching kindergartners, part of that team. And Kristen Wallace, who has been teaching K through 2 music, will be assuming the duties 3rd through 6th grade and middle school, high school choir. And then, as we mentioned before, Amy Stender is our new music teacher who will serve the K through 2 students. So just some movement of staff there of interest maybe. And just from the elementary level, just again, we had a really successful summer school session back in June. It was nice to have that back in place, and we did some changes to how we structured things that really went really well, and we'll keep going forward. Something new and exciting too, every Thursday morning from 7:30 to 8, our staff will be doing team collaboration meetings this year before school to continue moving forward with some of our professional learning community process. And Mr. Ernst mentioned like our continuing to align our standards and talk about common assessments that we're doing in our classrooms, and continue to move forward with efforts to continue to improve our academic performance. And then we've got a couple new resources we'll be using at the elementary school. We've used STAR tests for many years, and a lot of parents in here might be familiar with that. We're going to replace that with a new assessment called FastBridge, so that's exciting, but it's also a change that we'll be working through here at the beginning of the year. So that's just one notable thing that'll be different this year. But again, I also would want to echo and thank the staff for the efforts. Every single person did something extra, every day, whether it was just this simple thing, wiping down tables and the extra supervision and extra little things to keep things safe for kids and for adults. Everybody did something more last year. So I would echo the thanks to the whole effort of everybody and every employee in the entire district. And I look forward to this coming year, and I'm confident after last year that we can thrive through any kind of adversity that comes our way.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Mr. Milberg, our junior senior high school principal's report.
Chris wasn't speaking for both of us. Very excited to be here. Excited about the opportunity that Dr. Ernst, the board, the staff here, Mr. Peterson have given me to serve. I'm ready to get the year started. The next 10 days there's some big days coming up. Thursday is our Camp Junior High. We're going to introduce our 7th graders to their new building. Mrs. Rubel and Mrs. Kaler do a really nice job of setting that up, and it's a great day to get those kids into this building and feel comfortable before the first day of school. We've had staff in most of this week and a lot of last week as well, getting their rooms ready, but they officially start on Friday. So it's going to be exciting for me to finally get staff back in the building, and really excited to get students back in the building the following Wednesday is the next big day for us. Everybody's kind of mentioned the hiring in this building, including myself. We're going to have 7 new staff members in this building. And as a first-year principal, that hiring experience that I gained this year was great. But I also hope that this is the last year that we see this much turnover. That's the goal. Thank you to Tom Osmonder of this building. Looks absolutely fantastic. We got a few things we're fixing in the ceilings. They're still pulling some wires, but him and his staff has done a great job. They say the building looks great, but Tom says as long as you don't go look at the roof. But that's coming. So excited for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to a great school year.
All right, thank you, Mr. Milberg. The next item of business is the discussion of the future annual meeting date.
I believe, so typically past practice has been the 4th Monday of August. And if I'm looking at the calendar correctly, I believe it's August 22nd, 2022.
I will entertain a motion to pick that or choose that date.
I move to let the board decide when the next annual meeting will be.
All right, the board want to make a motion?
Yeah, August 22nd sounds good. I moved for August 22nd.
Or maybe go with the 4th Monday, just in case I'm wrong on
Okay,
the
the
22nd.
fourth Monday in August.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded that we do our next future annual meeting on the 4th Monday in August. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming in, you